Today is Thursday, September 7th, 2023, and this is the Dunkley Report. A Russian missile tore through an outdoor market in eastern Ukraine, killing 17 people and wounding dozens. The attack unfolded Wednesday as U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken returned to the country with more than $1 billion in new American funding for Ukraine. President Volodymyr Zelensky condemned the Russian attack on a civilian target. Blinken's visit was aimed at assessing Ukraine's 3-month-old counter-offensive and signaling continued U.S. support as some Western allies express worries about Kyiv's slow progress against invading Russian forces. The new aid package includes $275 in military aid, with the rest of the package to be spent on non-military programs. A liberal group has filed a lawsuit to bar former President Donald Trump from the primary ballot in Colorado. The lawsuit contends Trump is ineligible to run for the White House again under a rarely used clause in the U.S. Constitution aimed at candidates who have supported an insurrection. The lawsuit, citing the 14th Amendment, is likely the initial step in a legal challenge that seems destined for the U.S. Supreme Court. The lawsuit was filed on behalf of 6 Republican and unaffiliated Colorado voters by the group Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington. 4 months after a civil trial jury found Donald Trump sexually abused and defamed advice columnist E. Jean Carroll, a federal judge has ruled still more of the ex-president's comments about her were libelous. The decision means an upcoming second trial will concern only how much more Trump has to pay Carroll. Wednesday's ruling stands to streamline significantly the second trial, set for January. It concerns remarks Trump made in 2019 after Carroll first publicly claimed he sexually attacked her in a luxury department store dressing room in the 1990s. Trump denies it. The first trial concerned the sexual assault allegation and whether more recent Trump comments were defamatory. Jurors awarded Carroll $5 million. The judge overseeing the Georgia election subversion case involving former President Donald Trump has denied requests by 2 of the 19 defendants to be tried alone, instead saying the pair would be tried together starting next month. Fulton County Superior Court. Judge Scott McAfee said lawyers Kenneth Chesbrough and Sidney Powell's trial would begin October 23rd since both filed speedy trial demands, but he seemed skeptical Wednesday of prosecutors' arguments that all 19 defendants could be tried together that soon. The hearing provided some insight into how the sprawling case could play out, with prosecutors estimating a trial would take 4 months and that they'd call more than 150 witnesses. Republican presidential hopeful Chris Christie says Florida Governor Ron DeSantis put politics ahead of his job by declining to meet with President Joe Biden during Biden's weekend visit to survey Hurricane Idalia's damage in DeSantis's state. Christie made the comments Tuesday during a Fox News radio interview, and he knows such circumstances can create an enduring image. Photos of then New Jersey Governor Christie giving a warm greeting to Democratic President Barack Obama during a visit after Superstorm Sandy in 2012 earned Christie scorn among national Republicans. That moment even came up during the first Republican presidential debate last month. An extramarital affair Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton had with a donor's employee is at the center of his impeachment trial on accusations of corruption. One of Paxton's former close aides testified Wednesday that he confronted the Republican about why he appeared to keep going out of his way to help one of his donors. Jeff Mateer says when he learned of the continued affair, that explained why. Mateer is one of the deputies who reported Paxton to the FBI, and he's the first key witness in a trial that could last weeks. Paxton has pleaded not guilty and has called his impeachment politically motivated. Vice President Kamala Harris says those responsible for the effort to overturn the 2020 presidential election and the U.S. Capitol attack must be held accountable, including Donald Trump. In a Wednesday interview with the Associated Press, Harris said it's time to let the evidence, the facts, take it where it may. Trump is the 2024 Republican presidential primary frontrunner. Federal prosecutors have indicted the ex-president for his efforts to cling to power after he lost to Joe Biden in 2020, and he has pleaded not guilty. Harris spoke with the AP from Jakarta, Indonesia, where she's attending a summit of Southeast Asian leaders. Harris dismisses concerns about the 80-year-old Biden's age as he seeks re-election. A California judge has halted a school district policy that requires parents be notified if their children change their gender identification or pronouns at school. A San Bernardino County judge issued the ruling Wednesday. California Attorney General Rob Bonta had sued Chino Valley Unified School District over its newly adopted parental notification policy. It's one of several districts in Southern California considering similar policies as LGBTQ plus rights become the latest cultural flashpoint in schools across the country. Bonta says the district's policy violates students' civil rights. Chino Valley contends the policy seeks to involve parents so they can provide support. The head of the United Auto Workers warned that the union plans to go on strike against any Detroit automaker that hasn't reached a new agreement by the time contracts expire next week. A strike against all three major automakers, General Motors, Stellantis, and Ford, could cause damage not only to the industry as a whole, but also to the Midwest economy, and could lead eventually to higher vehicle prices. In an interview with the Associated Press, President Shawn Fain left open the possibility of avoiding a strike. He acknowledged that the union will have to give up some of its demands to reach agreements. The UN Weather Agency says Earth endured its hottest Northern Hemisphere summer ever measured with a record warm August, capping a season of brutal and deadly temperatures. Last month was not only the hottest August scientists ever recorded by far with modern equipment. It also was the second hottest month measured, behind only July 2023. That's according to the World Meteorological Organization and the European Climate Service, Copernicus. August was about 1.5 degrees Celsius or 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit, warmer than pre-industrial averages, the warming threshold that the world is trying not to pass. Today's news was reported by the Associated Press. This has been the World News for Thursday, September 7th, 2023. Thanks again for joining us at The Dunkley Report.